So this is a video on a upstream oxygen sensor replacement on this is a 97 Dodge Ram 1500 with a 5.9 in it. And this is going to be the same for probably all Dodge Ram 1500 pickups with the 5.9 from 1994 to 2000. And then in 2001, I think, before the generation change, the body style change, they actually changed the oxygen sensor. So here's the old one right there out, and here's my new one right there. You can see that the old one is pretty beat up, and I'll show you how I got it out. I just got it out and we'll go through that. This is a new one. Most important thing about these, why I'm showing it, is because a lot of the removal of the plug has to be done by feel just because of where it's located. And what it has is it actually has this tab on it, and in order to remove it, you want to push up on the tab and then pull it off. Here's the new one. It's also supposed to have this body dart on it. This old one broke off, but anyways, there's this tab on it, and in order to remove it, you push up and then pull away after you get it out, after you get the body dart out. So I'll go out and underneath the truck and show you how I got this off. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and disconnect the electrical connection. And how you do that is I come in from the passenger side, and then you're going to want to go all the way underneath the truck. First thing you're going to notice is where the actual sensor is. The sensor is located in that hole right there, where the two pipes come together from each side of the manifold here. They come together and join right in the front of the catalytic converter here. So that's the upstream sensor, and the downstream sensor is right about here. Okay, so you come in and you come all the way underneath the truck, going underneath the transmission pan there, and you get yourself to the driver's side of the truck, looking up on top of the transmission. And the first thing you're going to see is you're going to see a connector here that has a body dart to the side right here. And if you pull that off, it gives you some exposure. And the next thing you're going to see is you're going to see a zip tie on this guy here, a black zip tie. And if you cut that up, that allows you to lift that up. Then what you'll be doing is you'll feel, and you'll be able to feel this connector right here, which sits underneath there. And you want to feel around for that tab that I was talking about earlier. First off, this is kind of the remnants of the previous body dart. So you want to pull that off, and it may break off like this one did. And then you'll be able to lift up on that tab on the old sensor and pop it off of the plug. And then that'll allow you to go back to the other side and pull the wire down. So then you come back over to the passenger side of the truck, and where your two pipes come together before the catalytic converter, you'll see that oxygen sensor screwed in and the wires going off the top. Now you can pull the wires down. Now the first thing you probably want to do if you're going to try this project at home is spray this down with some penetrating oil, and then the next day come back, take a 7/8 inch wrench. Really all you need to do this project, best case scenario, is a 7/8 inch wrench and maybe a flathead screwdriver and some zip ties. But anyways, spray it down and then take a wrench and see what happens. If this doesn't turn, you're probably going to need reinforcements and other options. And if you don't have those available, you may want to get your truck somewhere where you can have those options available. In any event, mine wasn't going anywhere. You can see I rounded off the threads here trying to get that off. So what I ended up doing is, despite went through all of the different tries to get this thing off, I ended up cutting it with a sawzall above the wires, and you can see here there is a heck of a solid core inside of this thing. And despite my best efforts, I was not able to cut this thing flush. That center is hard. but about a 1/2 inch up, you can see it with my finger there, I was able to cut clear across it, and that allowed me to get a standard 6.7/8 inch socket on it with 1/2 inch drive. And really the only way to get at this, either with a standard removal kit or your own socket, is to come like this, actually through the pipes, and get at it on an angle. You really can't get at it from underneath because the transmission pan is going to be in the way. You can only really do that with a open-end wrench. So in any event, mine wasn't going anywhere, so eventually I cut it off, and then with a significant amount of heat, getting the thing pretty much cherry red with acetylene torch, was able to get it to turn and come out. And of course, mine came out with a large portion of the threads still attached to it. So the next thing is to reestablish the threads. This is they sell this at a lot of auto parts stores. You can actually buy this online for about $4 or $5. It's a oxygen sensor thread chaser. All it is basically a crude 18 millimeter tap that has a 3/8 inch drive on the top of it. And if yours didn't move with a little penetrating oil and putting a wrench on it, you probably want to have this handy before you start. I didn't, and learned the hard way, because again, you're going to want all of those kind of options at your disposal in order to get your new one on. So the next thing is I'll use my thread chaser, I'll reestablish my threads, and then hopefully that'll allow me to get my new one to just simply turn in. So now I ran my chaser down the threads, was able to fairly easily then screw a new one in. You may notice this is a different sensor than the one I showed you at the beginning. That's because I found out after I had the new one in, it was the wrong plug. So I routed the plug wires, can't really see that, back up and over there, over the transmission, and come back to the driver's side here. Take a look up there, and I was able to pull on these cables enough so I could actually see it, and was able to get that back together. I'll try to stick that body dart back in there, put some zip ties on, and then hook up my negative battery cable back up, and that'll be it. And that's the end. So one last final segment here. Kind of had to add this on. Hopefully it'll make, if you end up doing this, it'll make your life a lot easier with the electrical connection. I was putting the final connection together, and I looked and I'm like, hey, what's that rubber boot? Anyways, if you come in the cab, assuming you have an automatic, and you take the 6 screws around your transfer case shifter off, you'll have 6 5/16 screws underneath there. And you take that off and your electrical connections are right there. So hopefully this will make your life a heck of a lot easier. I have to say, it's kind of funny, when I was fighting to get to it, my uncle actually said, well, hey, what if you take that cover off? And I'm like, I'll never get to it. Anyways, it is right there. So if you're doing this, that would be a speedy way to get to this. It'll take you about 60 seconds with an electric screwdriver and save you a lot of fighting. Anyways, this is a better picture of what that plug looks like. Boy, it would have been really nice to see that earlier. Kind of embarrassing. And those are one of the holes that little body dart pops into. Anyways, that's the video, and I hope it helps.